The continued, unending, uninterrupted cacophony of the usual blather continues on uninterrupted, dear friends. Dear friends, this is now Sunday, a week and a day since the horror of October 7. And we are still saying the same stuff. Please disabuse yourself of this. Please remove yourself from the usual subjects. We are into this mental, masturbatory, onanistic, circular nonsense over and over and over again. The same people. Dear God, help us. Help us. This evening, I was going to go on at 9, and then luckily it was 8. And on the way from a trip with Mrs. L, I'm driving back, and I'm on the turnpike, and I'm going through the Lincoln Tunnel, and I had on, and we just happened to have on, and I listened to this, of Fox News, which I never have on. I never. And I thought, okay, through the transistor, we're in the Yugo, a stretch. We're driving through it, and I was screaming, get to the point. Stop this. Stop it. We know Hamas is bad. For the love of God, get to the point. Just get to the point. What are you doing? How does anybody find this even remotely interesting? Dear God, get to the point. Yes, we know they're bad. What are you going to do? I don't give a damn what Elon Omar says. I don't give a damn what Rashida Tlaib says. I don't care. Who cares? What are you going to do? Come on, war room experts. What are you going to do? What are we talking about? For the love of God, get to the point. Somebody help me, dear God. Insidious, Lionel, do you get your dress clothes custom made? Bespoke? Some. Thank you very much. Let's get to this. We're going to talk about the specifics of how you're going to rescue. The specifics of this lunacy called boots on the ground. Door to door. What are you talking about? Does Fallujah come to mind? What the hell are these people talking about? Door to door? What? Oh my God. Dear friends, stand by, dear friends. And I ask you to wait. But please do your part. Make sure you have right now signed up, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell so you're notified of live streams and the like. For the love of God. And my friends, let me also remind you that right now, preparewithlionel.com, I have been talking to you about whole preparedness package, preparedness in one kit. The 3-month emergency food supply, the best seller and value, save 25%. This is emergency food. Go to preparewithlionel.com. Look at the variety. Look at the breads and the mac and cheese and the oatmeals and the drinks and the potatoes just look at this. Over 2,000 calories a day. 21 varieties up to a 25-year shelf life. Breakfast, lunches, dinners, drinks, and snacks. Resealable, heavy-duty 4-layer pouches with oxygen absorbers. Over 120 pounds of food. No MSG. Sealed into 6 rugged, water-resistant buckets. 120 pounds of food. Shipped fast and free shipping included. This is it. This is opportunity knocking. Preparewithlionel.com. Do you hear me? Preparewithlionel.com. And one more thing. If you go to our dear friends at mypillow.com, I've been with them and they've been with me. You get a free gift by using promo code Lionel. And look what they got right now. My Pillow 2.0 King and Queen. Original My Slippers, $39.98. Percale bed sheets, $24.98. Overstock sales. Mattress toppers. Mattresses. Just go through the sandals, plush blankets. Just a veritable mélange, a pastiche, a mosaic. A cornucopia of sales. Go to mypillow.com. Great people, great Americans, great patriots. Do yourself and them a favor. Preparewithlionel.com and mypillow.com. Okay. Let me give them a little bit of a, there we go. That's it right there. All right, dear friends. Thank you, by the way. And your support has been terrific. And we thank you for patronizing our sponsors because they're great people and we love them and they love us. Now let's get back to square one. First and foremost, I hate little boys who love to be tough. And they talk about military stuff like they know anything about it. I know nothing about birth of no babies. And I know nothing about war. I have not been in war. Most people who have been in combat, been in war, don't know anything about a hostage negotiation either. They might have been in the military. I know police who were part of TRT and SWAT teams. You don't have to be an expert. I don't know anything about birth of no babies, but I kind of know about conception, and I kind of know a lot about a lot of stuff. I really do. And so do you. And you know what I know is when people are full of shite. When people are full of, they talk big. Dear John Kirby, boots on the ground. What are you talking about? You're going to have Americans show up in Fallujah. Well, that's the thing. In Gaza? You're going to have Americans show up in Gaza? What are you, nuts? Are you crazy? To go door to door? Do you know where these people are? There's 300 miles of tunnels at least. What are we talking? Don't get people's estimates and hopes and dreams up. I don't care how many battle carrier battalions or squads or whatever battle, you know what I'm talking about. The Gerald R. Ford. The Gerald R. Ford. Does that name instill fear in you? The Gerald R. Ford. I don't know about that. But here's my point. You're talking about going door to door? No, you're not. You don't want no. How do you get hostages out? Let me ask you. How do you do it? Tell me, dear friends. It's very simple. It's real simple. And I love to say this. I'm not trying to be cute or whatever it is, but it's very, very simple. It's exceedingly simple. How do you do it? Let me ask you. You're smart. How would you do it? Now think about it. Use your head. Your job, your role is to get these people out. Get these Americans out or anybody else that you want. How do you do it? What do you do? What do you do? Stephen Lynch says we have two times the 3-month package on top of we have 2 times the 3-month package on top of water, ammunition, and precious coins. Ooh, good for you. Stephen, you're a man after my own heart. I like that, especially the coins and bug out bags and people. You're smart. Good for you. Preparewithlionel.com. Let me tell you something. I hope everybody here understands and recognizes the issue of self-defense. And I hope, Stephen, I'm sure you know as well, that if you decide to have ammo and to utilize your Second Amendment right, you better know what the hell you're doing. Stephen, don't you like when people say, yeah, I'm going to have this stuff, and they've never, I mean, have you ever seen people in extremis, so to speak, try to use a firearm? Can you do this? let me stop for 1 second. Let me ask you a question. Have you done this? Have you used it? Have you tried to grab a weapon in the middle of the night? Do you know the working end of it? Can you use it? What do you do if there's no lights on? What do you do? Can you use your weapon? Do you know where it is? Can you get to it? When do you use it? Let me stop for just 1 second because this is very interesting. This is very interesting that we're talking about. I want you to listen to me because I don't want you to call me. And I don't want to have to defend you because you couldn't afford me for one thing. But it's one of those things where if you think, hey, I did the right thing, really? They're going to pick apart everything you did. Yeah, but I was defending myself. Well, this person's no more. Tell me the circumstances. Where were they? Inside my house. That's good. That's a good one. What about outside your house? Well, see, nobody ever does this. And Stephen, I'm glad you brought this up. Let's do a little timeout right now because we're going to talk about this. And this kind of works regarding the laws of Fallujah. And I love this law. This thing's called the law of war, the law of combat, the law of war. War, there's no laws. War is mayhem. War is destruction. War, there's no law. I don't care what anybody says. There's no law. You know how many people get war crimes violations? What are you kidding me? A few? War is nothing but horror. Sheer unmitigated horror. It doesn't know the Constitution. It doesn't know probable cause. It doesn't know stop and frisk. It doesn't know any of that stuff. Police do, not war. War is not interested in this. War is not interested in this. Remember that great... There is that wonderful... Yes. Remember this one? From Battlestar Galactica? There's a reason you separate military and the police. One fights the enemies of the state. The other serves and protects the people. When the military becomes both, then the enemies of the state tend to become the people. Remember this. Remember this words. Remember this. Remember these words. These are very, very, very critical aspects to our worldview, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Remember that. There's a reason you separate the military and the police. One fights the enemies of the state. The other serves and protects the people. When the military becomes both, then the enemies of the state tend to become the people. This is something which is extremely critical that you always understand. And one of the things which I always tell you, my dear friends, and I hope you recognize this, and I'm sure you do, you recognize, is that we as American citizens, and by the way, to our dear friends who are elsewhere, who might be from other parts of the world, we certainly want to include you in this. We don't want this to be an American only thing, but I'm sure the same would apply to your country as well. You better know how things work, and you better understand how things work. By the way, there's a brand new video I did of my time with Mr. Anthony Cumia. I was substituting for his show. Got a link for you in case you want to see it. It's kind of interesting. It's pretty good. In any event, let's talk about this. Police versus regular. What can you do as a citizen to protect yourself and others? Is there anything called citizen's arrest? Anybody? Is there anything called citizen's arrest? Yes or no? Anybody hear of this? Have you heard of citizen's arrest? Help me. Anybody? Anybody hear of citizen's arrest? You ever hear about that? Anybody? Anybody? It's one of those things I hear people talk about all the time. I don't know what the hell that means. Citizen's arrest. What does that mean? I don't know. We talk about it. I don't know. You want to try arresting somebody? Try getting out of false imprisonment, kidnapping, because the false imprisonment statute is basically the kidnapping statutes. When you hold somebody, when you take them and move them to someplace they don't want to go, or you keep them from leaving someplace they want to leave, that's in essence kidnapping. That's false imprisonment. Did you ever hear about that? You think you could just stop people like you think you could just say, hey, you, And let's say there's mayhem. Let's say there's problems. Let's say we're ever in our own kind of mini Gaza, mini Fallujah, and you're out there. And you've got your weapons and you're ready, and you've got your ammo and you've got your coins, and you're girding you're protecting your house. What can and can't you do? You have never thought about this. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope to God you recognize the fact that when somebody is in your house, that's one thing. But let me tell you something. And I'm glad, by the way, this is a little bit of a version, a little bit of a stray, perhaps, from what we're talking about, but nonetheless, I think it's important. We have these friends who live in a kind of a town house. Every house looks identical. The only thing is that maybe there's a number, but I mean, you stand in front of them, I don't know, they all look identical. So I went out to the car for something, came back, I opened the door, and I looked down and I said, I don't remember there being it's kind of wintertime, like I don't think they had snow boots and things like that. What the hell was this? And all of a sudden I hear, can I help you? I said, oh, I'm sorry. Pardon me. I was in the wrong house. I just walked in. Could he have shot me? Yes or no? He walks in. I walk in. Boom, boom, boom. I'm dead. I've crossed the threshold. I'm inside his home. He shoots me. He kills me. What do you think? Do I got a cause of action? Does my estate have a cause of action for wrongful death? Did he act reasonably? Yes or no? Yes or no? Was he reasonable? I'm in his home. There I am. I haven't said anything. I haven't, threatened him. I haven't done anything. Do you think this is in any way? What do you think about it? Anybody? Now think about it. Now before you start answering, I hope you would have thought a little bit about this, just a tad, a little bit about this, but nonetheless, think about this. Do you think this makes any sense? Do you think? You know what? That's a hard one. I don't know. I want to tell you right now the answer to every legal question there ever was. The legal question, the answer to every legal question there ever was and ever will be is very simple. It depends. It depends. That's the answer. I don't know. It depends. It depends on a lot of stuff. It depends on the circumstance. It depends on, I don't know. It just depends. I mean, was he threatened? Was he reasonable? He probably has a little bit. I mean, do you just start shooting people who walk in? Or is this, what if I get a jury? Do you think somebody what if somebody comes into your car? I remember one time we got into who was it? It was an Uber, and I got into the wrong car. And we take off. And he says, "Want me to take the Holland Tunnel?" I said, "What? The Holland Tunnel? We're going uptown. What are you talking about?" And he said, "Wait a minute. Who are you? Are you Dave?" I said, "Dave." Slams on the brakes. We try to get back. I'm on the phone calling the other guy. He's calling his person. I just got in the car and I sat down. What if he freaks out? What if he's not even an Uber? What if he's somebody else? He shoots me because I'm in his car. I just jumped in the back of his car. What about that? Is that reasonable? Now let's forego any particular rule that would prohibit him from having a gun in the first place. See, these are. I wish I could tell you. Probably you're okay, but I don't know if me. Now, by the way, me. Do I have a cause of action against you? You acted. I got into a car. My God, you shot me? What the hell's the matter with you? Interesting. Let's go back to Gaza. Door to door. Did you hear Kirby? Oh, we're the boots on the ground. Where are you going to go? The only way we're going to get hostages on is if we have spooks and we have spies and we have turncoats and we have rats and the Sammy the Bulls and all these confidential informers and all these people and double agents. And that's the way we got to say that's the guy. That's the one. How much do you want to put any money on the life estate or the life expectancy of Hamas leaders? Anybody? That's the first one. That's the first to go. There, that's it. Believe me, the bounties are out. They're ready to go. And we're not talking about some third in the line. They know exactly who is who. They know exactly. And you know what else they know? They know other stuff too. They know Hezbollah. They know, look. They know how this thing goes. So get ready. Somewhere, somehow, smile. You're on candid camera. You know it's coming. You know it's coming out of nowhere. They're going to target that guy. They're going to say, you're the one, just like Casey Kasem Salami or whatever his name was. They got him. Remember how they ID'd him with his ring? And they say that he, the Iranian dude, he was the fellow who had access to a lot of these plans in the first place. Now, you know this. You know this. And you also know people are going to say, I don't know if I want to be around you. Believe it or not, I know it's kind of like a joke, but there are a lot of folks who are going to say, get away. You are radioactive, my friend. You are radioactive. We are nowhere near this. Under the rules of engagement, can you do that? Can you just do that? Under what authority can you just do that? Just take someone out? Can you? Does this make sense? Does this even make sense? That is the stuff that I want to know, dear friends. That's all I want to know. Simple, simple, simple. I just want to know, how does this work? And you know what's also interesting about this? And I mean this. One of the most important aspect of everything, this is so important, is for us to recognize a couple of things here. And it goes to show you that we have to get and understand how this works. How does all of this stuff work? That's the part. That's the part I want to know. How do the specifics of this actually work? How do you go in and do this? How do you get people? Imagine you are a part of some Delta Force or whatever it is, and you're asked to go in. And you are asked to go in and asked to be a part of this. How does this even work? Imagine there you are on the front lines going door to door, and you have an idea roughly of where people are. I can't imagine what that must be like. And I'm saying, unless you know specifically who is who and who was responsible for this, there's no way anybody possibly is going to be a part of any, how do I say this? Any legitimate form of okay. Let's also talk about this. And this is important, my friends. Here's the question that we have to ask. And it's very, very critical. Very critical. And it goes something like this. How long is this going to go? And when does it go into Third World War stuff? When does this go into Third World War? Are we doomed to this notion of perpetual war? This is critical. This is super duper, honest to God, unbelievably critical. What do we do? How do we figure this thing out? Can't say it enough. Can't say it enough. You know what's going to be bad. Do you see us being drawn into this? How would we be drawn into it? Because this is what I want to talk about. I'm tired of having them rehash the same story about Gaza. I understand all that. I got it. I understand it completely. My question is simply this. Do you see us getting involved where American troops ever be involved? How would we be involved? Maybe off of a carrier escort team or something. Do you see American fighter jets going in, targeting let's say, Iranian positions, or Lebanese, Hezbollah, maybe even, I don't know. You get into some Syrian, we're going to have some overlap here. Do you see us actually also using the BRICS plus 6 folks? Do you see MBS? Where is this going to go? Who is the bad guy? Where do you go? Let me ask you something. Do you think there is going to be some type of American involvement? Do you think so? Hillbilly says yes. Jody says absolutely. Who thinks? More likely there will be missiles flung at the carrier groups. And if there's an attack on the carrier groups, who would attack a carrier group? Now, seriously, I'm not trying to pretend I'm Joe Military here, whatever that Joe Military means, but who in their right mind, you're going after the most sophisticated group of people known, a carrier group? Are you kidding me? A carrier group? And who does it? Let's assume somebody goes after it. How do you identify the people who did it? These are quick. I'm serious. What do you do? Laura Floyd knows. Laura knows. Laura's on my team. Laura's on my team. Angelica's on my team. Look at this. According to Redacted, good group, I was on there. Egypt is ready to receive Palestine refugees, but are being blocked from doing so. Yes, absolutely. Hamas is blocking them. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Let me just ask you the question. What the hell are you going to do with 1 million? They're going to say, we live there. What are you going to do? 1 million? You're going to have 1 million refugees? What happens if somebody says, bring them to the United States? What are you going to do? Who wants to bring them here? Anybody? Anybody want to bring them here? Come on, who does it? Come on, you do. Come on, Ian, you want to, right? Miles, you want to. Mickey, you want to. Dave, Vanilla, you want to bring them here? Want to bring? You want to bring them here? You ready for this? Let me ask you something. Anybody want to bring them here? No. Porch says no. James says nope. Come on. Now let me ask you something, okay? What kind of people do you want coming in here in the first place? Because remember one thing, we do very well, believe it or not, we do very well with people coming from different places around the world. We do exceedingly well with folks who come to this country. Don't ever, ever, ever forget that. We benefit from immigration. Don't ever let anybody tell you that. We do great with immigration. If it's legal, if it's done correctly. Do you want somebody? Now, let me tell you something. This is please don't God, don't take this the wrong way. Do you want somebody in this country from who has lived, and these are wonderful people, but some 18-year-old, 20-year-old, maybe some ex-Hamas dude who's slipping through, who figures, I'm going to try it over here. I'm going to try a life over here in this country. You know what I mean? Some incel, some 18-year-old, pissed off, out of work, 19-year-old who is filled with hate, doesn't know what the hell's going on, but says, guess what? I'm going to go to, I don't care, Cleveland, LA, the American dream. I'll do it. How do you think you keep an eye on this fellow? What do you do? How do you keep an eye on this dude? And do you think he's ready to be assimilated into our country? Do you think he's ready to be assimilated? Or do you understand what I'm talking about? Now, what about an old lady, old man, an old man, nice people? And like these, I see these poor grandma types and they're crying like this and they're crying. What about here? How about moving them to Toledo, maybe Akron? Come on in. We'll set you up in Dearborn, Michigan. There's a big Arab community, whatever. You want to just bring them over here? Huh? Let me tell you something. I would take an 80-year-old Gazan grandmother any day over half of the people we got walking around here on motorbikes looking rather furtive. You know what I mean? John McGuire couldn't get hired as straight up Palestinians, not Hamas members. Why not let them come over? They have a nearly 100% literacy rate versus our 75%. People coming from dirt appreciate green grass. You know, I'm going to use that line, Johnny. I like that. People who come from dirt appreciate grass. I got no problem with that at all. See, let me tell you something. See that flag behind me? That means something. We got a great country here. And my family, I think they came here legally, are all over the place. I got Germans, Irish, Scots, German, Irish, Scots. I know that. Puerto Rican, well, it's America. Sicilian. That's about it. French, whatever these people are. And I think that makes us great. I think we stand for something. I've seen, have you ever seen the Statue of Liberty? Have you ever seen it? It's something. It's green, but have you ever seen that? We were on this party boat kind of a deal where this boat that goes around the Manhattan, because it's a Manhattan, it's an island. And lo and behold, we went right underneath the Statue of Liberty. I mean, it's something. I got no problem with that. I got no problem with these folks. Now, what do you do with a bunch of dirtbags who say their number one thing is the elimination of Israel and Jews? It's not just Israel. These folks, they are cold-blooded, and they're not, to call them anti-Semitic is another story. These are serious. What do you do with that? Have you ever met? Can you imagine? Can you imagine how any of these lefty folks can say, "Excuse me, you want wait. You want to what? You had me there going, you want to get you're against Jews? No, wait, hold it. I was with you for a little bit about maybe land and colonization. That's the new word now. I was with you there a little bit, okay, a little bit. I was with you a little bit you. I was kind of digging what you were saying about that, but see what we talk about with this Jew, but no. We don't do that. No. How can anybody say, well, Hamas, excuse me, in their charter? Does that mean anything to you? If there was something that said we're against Armenians, people say, what the hell is an Armenian? What is that? That's that Turk thing, isn't it? I'd say, nope. Sorry. We don't deal with anybody who has in their charter the elimination of this group. See, that's un-American. We're not like that. The land part, I'm with you. I'll hear you out. About the land and all this and all that kind of, but not that. That's the part that blows my mind. I can't believe this. I cannot believe this. So again, it goes back to this whole story. What are we talking about? What is with Hamas? Why do they love Hamas? What hello, Hamas? Do you know what they are? Forget the Palestinians. Forget this. Don't give me this nonsense about, well, they were kind of like, go to, stop it. Don't tell me they came along and all of a sudden they were, they got a point. These people are cold-blooded terrorists. And guess what? They're like nothing. They're the junior league compared to these, Islamic Jihad, but specifically Hezbollah. Wait till those guys get involved. And then you get into this. Now we got Iran saying, if you take one step forward, if we find out if You know, and I know, as we speak, there are meetings going on that you probably don't know about. And you're probably on the phone with us. We're probably talking to Putin. Putin's talking to this guy. Everybody's saying, okay, folks, listen, we don't like each other. Let's get that out of the way. I'm not crazy about you. You're not crazy about me. But let's put this aside. These people are screwing this whole thing up. I think about that MBS. You were this close from making a deal with Israel. You were great. Saudi Arabia, he was making tremendous strides. You know that? He was making tremendous strides. He was doing a wonderful job. Did you know that? He was laying off of this ridiculous, this backwards, I'm sorry, this nonsense about, women have to ask a man to drive a car and to leave. I mean, just nonsense. The only thing he didn't back off on, believe it or not, was, I think, liquor. This is MBS. He's bringing Formula One racing, golf, soccer. He's making it. I mean, he is. I just. He was this far with this close. It was beautiful. And then this. He is, as we say in the West Tampa, empingado. He is pissed off you, Hamas. And who is Hamas? Bunch of 18-year-old losers with no job, no hope, and no, nothing, no piñata, nothing named, who are basically a bunch of incels who have no clue, and they are easily malleable, and you give them a scarf, and you give them a knife, and you bring them in, and they do this. They're just, look at them. Did you see these folks? Did you see them? This is what we're talking about. Now, with all due respect, and I'm sorry, but you don't need master's degrees to basically run a bulldozer through a fence. And again, I know what you're thinking. How did that happen? That story stinks to high heaven. And you know, and I know, if we could sit down with Bibi and Mossad, we'd say, hey, Bibi, please, come on, man. Bibi, you expect me to believe this? What, they got lucky? Come on, man. Come on. What's going on here? I know you're not that incompetent. For 2 years, everybody's known this stuff. They're setting up. Can't you see with satellites? Hey, am I saying this? Are these guys, is it a makeshift city down there? What am I looking for binoculars? I'm in a satellite. What am I doing this? What am I making this? What is this? What am I grabbing something here? Are you kidding me? Bibi, please. Say it ain't so, Bibi. Say it ain't so. And before Bibi, there was who? Bibi Rebozo. Remember that? This was Nixon's best friend. Imagine being Nixon's best friend. His only friend, Bibi Rebozo. Imagine the parties they had. This whole thing. This is Hamas. Nobody likes these people. These poor people are trying to flee to Gaza, and Hamas is saying, no, stay here. Stay here. Why? Because you're a human shield. You're a human shield. What? We want you. You're collateral. You're collateral. You're this. And also, we stand behind you. We stand behind you, literally. So and I know, Hamas is bad news. Nobody ever talks about bad. Nobody talks about Hamas. Don't ever talk about the Palestinians. Talk about Hamas. Let me ask you something. Anybody here have a beef with Palestinians? Anybody? Anybody? When you see people crying in Gaza, doesn't that break your heart? Seriously, is it me? I feel sorry for these people. Do you think those people say, well, you voted Hamas in, you're at fault. Do you think these people have any? Do you think they can possibly honestly say anything? Look at Vinny says, no. I like when a question comes like, no. Now, what question did I ask that he's answering no to? You mean to tell me when you see people in Hamas crying, Hamas, listen to me, Freudian slip, perhaps, maybe. What are you telling me that when you see women in Gaza and they're crying, it doesn't do anything to you? You don't feel anything? Vincent says, we don't have space lasers that can pinpoint attack. I'm with you on that one, Vinny. I'm with you. I'm with you. See, Vinny knows something. Vinny knows something. Vinny is like, reminds me of that great line from SCTV. Sure, he's crazy, but what if he's right? Rafael Ligonde says, brother, when will Anthony Blinken comprehend he is becoming an irritant? He is not helping out. People out there don't like him, don't trust him. Oh, I'm with you. I think Blinken knows that. I don't think, it's weird. I'm glad you brought that up. I don't understand. I mean, if you listen to what the Biden folks are saying, it's pretty hardcore. I mean, they are straight up hardcore. We're with Israel and this and that, and that's it. Wow. Okay. All right. Fair enough. White Monkey says Palestine voted for Hamas like we voted for Biden. Hey! Hey! White, you are good. You are good, my friend. You think those poor bastards had any idea what they were doing? No. Do you think, honest to God, do you think that deep down inside that they sit around and go, you know what? We got to get that Israel. I mean, they may look deep down inside, they may say, yeah. But I'm telling you, they want to live like everybody else. Why don't we have a buffer zone? Why don't we have a buffer zone around these areas? For example, you've got Rafah, I know, in the south, but the checkpoints are 6 or whatever, 5 or 6. Why don't we have a kilometer, like a buffer zone has been suggested, where there's a safe zone where you say, listen, friends, I wish somebody would go on TV and do like a tutorial. Hello, friends. My name is, I don't know, call me Vinny. And I want to ask you a question. Do you know why there are checkpoints around Gaza? Because Hamas keeps bringing stuff in there to turn around and send it our way being Israel. What do you suppose we do about this? Hey, grandma, grandpa, sit down with me. What do you want me to do? I know it's not your fault. I know we can't blame you. I know you can't tell Hamas, hey, you're screwing up. You're ruining the neighborhood. I know you better take you and your rockets and you get the hell out of here. And don't use us for human shields anymore. Doesn't work like that. You think they can do this? You think they can stand up for this? No, of course not. How would you feel? You know, they know, and they know how to pinpoint. I think Vinny would even agree. Imagine that. They know how to pretty much pinpoint the site of where rockets come from. So basically, when Hamas decides to hide behind these folks, they know exactly where it is, and they turn around and they come out of nowhere and blast these poor people to smithereens. And it's not their fault. They don't want this. Why don't we make it clear? Why aren't we better at, if you will, going on television or whatever you want to call it, and basically asking folks, explaining to them what's going on? When I hear people talk about, and I was watching, I got to tell you this much, and I Amy Goodman, I was watching some of this Democracy Now. You know what I mean? It's nice. Democracy Now. He goes, this is Democracy Now, and we got Democracy Now, and you got Juan, whatever his name is, and they're nice. And they have this woman on. It was very good. She was a Palestinian lawyer, very smart, very good, and she's talking about the column, and the occupation. And I'm thinking, you know what? You got a hell of a point. Excuse me, counselor. One question. What do you suggest? Why aren't you talking about Hamas in Gaza? This is nice. This is nice. But why don't you talk? You might as well be talking about climate change or transgender rights or puberty blockers or I don't know what. Address. Why don't you do me a favor? Why don't you explain to me what are we supposed to do with Hamas? That's all I'm going to say. I'm with you on this. Children dying. Got it. Would you talk about that? I wish we would, like to have those sound trucks go from around and say, excuse me, would you tell me what do we do with Hamas? That's the problem. What do we do with this? What do we do with Hamas? I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't understand. I have been on shows. And I am so understanding. I said, but I've got one question. Yes. What about Hamas? Oh yeah. You never talk about that. Is there a reason for that? Do you just forget? Are they left out of the equation? How does this work out? How does this work out? I don't get it. Let me try this one on you and ask somebody this. Even Vinny would understand this. Love that guy. Let's assume, like I told you, 1965, 1970, 1950, a group of rogue black terrorists decide to terrorize white communities, and then when asked about it, they said, Emmett Till. What? Emmett Till. What they did to Emmett Till. You're right. Emmett Till was horrible. Emmett Till was terrible. Well, what does that have to do with what you did? Emmett Till. That doesn't justify what you did. Emmett Till is right. You were right about that. Or a Vietnam protest. Let's say the Weather Underground. Blow up something. Why? Vietnam. The poop. That doesn't justify. Okay, you got it? Good. What about Hamas? Nobody's talking about that. Rafael Ligonde says, what is the logic behind Schumer said today? We're going to put a package for $200 billion. I know reps will not pass it. Well, what am I missing? You know what? From what I believe you were saying, you're not missing anything, sir. You're not missing anything at all. And by the way, one more question. Am I wrong in not being excited over Jim Jordan? What is with Jim Jordan? Am I missing something? I think these Republicans are the biggest bunch of jadrools I've ever seen. Ever. I swear to God. Do you feel, and how about DeSantis? And where's Trump? And how about Bobby Kennedy? Gets rid of Dennis Kucinich and puts an ex-CIA. Hello? Are you following any of this? Is this on? Hello? 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 Come in. I like Jim Jordan. What does Jim Jordan ever do? Jim Jordan's all about Jim Jordan. Jim Jordan's a big mouth. All he talks about is this Fauci and this. He doesn't do anything. The Republicans are useless. They have no time for them. The Democrats are non-entities. Republicans, I have no time for any of these people. John McGuire couldn't get hired, says, remember all the aid we sent to the UK to handle the IRA? Remember when the Brits walled off all of Northern Ireland? Yeah, there are other ways to handle this stuff. Well, yeah. But you see, here's the thing. Johnny, and by the way, Johnny, thank you. The people who were involved in Northern Ireland were more than just the Brits and the Irish. But they were pretty much in there. Oh, you had, the Brits and the Irish and the Provisionals and the Republicans and the Ulster group. Yeah, but it was basically these two people. Let me ask you something. Who is in charge of Palestine? Answer the question. Who is in charge? And don't tell me there's no such thing as Palestine. There's an old joke. Remember this? There's an old joke. Moses is at the Dead Sea. Remember this? I'm so old. I remember when the Dead Sea was just sick. Anyway, Moses is at the Dead Sea or something, and he says, "Hey, he took his clothes off. Some Palestinians stole my clothes. The Palestinians stole my clothes. And somebody says, there's no Palestinians. Okay. I don't want to get into that argument. I know people love to get into it. To me, it's boring as hell. Is it really Palestine? Were they really called Palestine? I don't know if they were called Palestine, but that's what we call them. But were they Philistine? Palestina? Was it really the... I was talking to a friend of mine today, a great friend, and he's talking to me the history of, oh God, Judah. And I'm like, stop it. Anyway, who runs Palestine? Pierino Fanculo. Philistine. Who runs Palestine? Who's in charge? Who is it? Who runs it? Tell me. Anybody? You want to deal with the people in charge of Palestine? Tell me, who is it? Who runs it? Who is it? Who are these people? I ask you a very simple question. Who are these people? Who are these folks? Who are the people running Palestine? Tell me. It's very important that we know this thing. Very important that we accept this, the notion of this. Very, very simple concept. Who runs the show? You're smart enough. Israel. Somebody says. What? CIA. Oh, I'll be CIA. Come on. Who is it? Come on, you got to go right now. You got to make a deal. You want to talk to them? You got to make a deal with somebody who's running. Is it the Palestinian Authority? Those guys are gutted. Abu Mazen, I don't think he runs anything. Who runs it? Larry, Daryl, and Daryl. Who runs it? I'm serious. Bolsheviks, you people you're just a bunch of comedians. You have no idea. Michael Jackson, Abbas, Laura Flynn, that's Abu Mazen. That's a Palestinian Authority. Pretty much. I mean, he's the West Bank, but who? Who did it? Who owns it? We're going to deal with somebody. Who? Somebody somewhere. We got to make a deal. It's a power vacuum, okay? But let's assume that we're trying our best to work something out. Do you see where we're going right now? Who runs Iran? Iran. Who runs Lebanon? Lebanon, to an extent. Syria. Yeah. Jordan. Egypt. Who runs Palestine? Hamas? Well, not really. Well, who is it? Well, I don't know if it's... There we are. So here's the problem. Here's what's going on. Number one, the problem is we don't know what the hell's going on. That's the thing. We talk about it. We talk a good game. You go on Fox News. You go on Facebook. And you talk on CNN. And then you get this one. He's wearing the big helmet. This is press. And you're watching the thing. And it's interesting. But it bores the hell out of me. It's sad. It's terrible. It's tragic. There's death. There's carnage. Who runs it? I have no idea. I sort of understand how we're supposed to say, all right, everybody out, get out of the northern part of Gaza, move back, move to the back. Move to the back. It's a million. What are you talking about? It's the size of Philadelphia. Move to the back. We're going to level this. You think that's going to get what? Is that going to get Gaza? I don't know. Or Hamas? Well, I don't understand any of that. You're basically going to make all these people homeless. You're going to just destroy it. And then that's the way you get Hamas? That's it? Look at this. Who runs the U.S. deep state? White monkey, let's talk about this. It's not the deep state. It's the shadow government. And the shadow government is run by a committee of sorts. Most of the folks aren't even, I think, in this country. But if you think about the folks who are involved with big tech, a little bit of the Bilderberg folks, a little of the G7 folks, a little bit of the World Economic Forum, throw in Soros for good measure, and throw in a bunch of other groups. not necessarily billionaires, but people who are globalists, people in charge of the Bank of International Settlements, the Central Bank of Central Banks, the usual story, the usual folks kind of together that want to see this whole entire world as one. But they met their match with BRICS because the deep state, for the most part, is kind of a Western thing. It is. Deep state, police state, intel state, shadow government, ruling class, that pretty much is a Western thing. BRICS is the countermeasure, the way Hamas was a countermeasure for Fatah and Arafat. John McGuire couldn't get higher, says Stein is basically a prison. So Israel is in charge of Palestine. However, Hamas, being the toughest inmates, they run the yard. You know what? I got to tell you something. Johnny, I don't know where you get this stuff from. If you're just a savant or a plain old genius, but I love the analogy, and you're right about that. You're right about that. Now, aside from this, you know, and I know somebody's on the phone. MBS. Yeah, it's me. Listen, have you talked to our friends in Iran yet? What do they say? What does the mullah say? What does Hamada say? What does he say? Got it? Talk to him. What's he going to do? Right? You're not going with that Hezbollah, is he? No. Okay. So what's going to happen? Give him a couple weeks until what? What are we waiting for? These guys are no good, Mully. No good. You know it. I know they stink. They're rat bastards, the whole group. Nobody likes them. Who likes them? Who honestly says, hey, Hamas, good for you. Way to go. Have you seen the fellow? I don't know his name. Maybe you do. He is the Palestinian, he's the Hamas, I guess, or the spokesperson. He's incredible. He's like Baghdad Bob. There's no children there's no citizens. I don't think there was any. You say there was an attack last week? I don't have any attack. Oh, he's good. I mean, he lies in colors. Rafael Legonde says, one last question. Biden said today we can handle all three fronts because we are the USA. Do you think he's talking for anybody in the government? I don't think he has no idea what we're talking about. We can, first of all, you don't, we're not going to go. We're not going to go to, I'm sorry, Gaza? Americans showing up? Hello, knocking on the door. Anybody seen Hamas? Yeah, we're the United States. Yeah, anybody? Can we come in? Yeah, okay. What? I'm telling you, the answer is with MBS, who picks up the phone and says, that's enough of this. That's enough of this. We're going to screw things up. We're going to screw things up. I don't know why somebody doesn't. Okay, I'm just being crazy. Maybe I'm just, maybe I'm out of my league here. But do you think somebody would say, listen, I want to show you something. We got your, remember Stuxnet? Remember when Israel or Mossad, I guess. It's always Mossad. We always, because we just love Mossad. We don't pretend like we do, but we think they used to be the greatest ones ever. But anyway, so here's the story. And this is important. Somebody needs to say, remember Stuxnet? This was the look at this. White Monkey says, I heard Biden had corn pop called Benji. Yep, there you go. Thank you so much for that. Remember Stuxnet? This was a kind of a virus or a worm or something that got into the Iranian. I think it was the Iranian uranium purification, whatever you want to call it. And they had them like spin the other way, had the centrifuges go berserk and melt down or whatever it was. You think somebody would say, listen, if you don't do something now about Hamas to call them off, Watch it. You see your likes flickering out? We're going to shut you down. We know how to do this. We're you know, kind of know, and you probably know how to do it too. We're going to do it. So let's just stop all this nonsense. You're going to cut this out, and you better shut this down because we've had enough of this. And I know this sounds very rough and tumble, and I know that what I'm saying sounds almost far-fetched to the point of being laughable, but it's not far-fetched. Because the way this is ultimately going to be taken care of is if somebody comes along and says, we're going to do things our way. We're going to do things our way. We're going to do things actually. But this makes complete and total sense. You're not going to get away with this any longer. Period. All right, dear friends. Been a long day. An hour. Been on with you for an hour. I still feel sorry for the old ladies. I see those poor ladies, children and people, young people in Gaza. I'm sorry. I don't care what anybody says. Them and Israelis and what am I trying to say? The West Bank folks. I feel absolute. My heart. I have empathy for them. Sympathy. Those people didn't ask for any of this stuff. They're always forgotten. And believe me, they could stop this tomorrow if all of the leaders around this area picked up the phone and said, all right, Hamas, that's enough. But they're not doing it. Or maybe they are, but they're letting this carry out or carry through. Dear friends, I thank you so much. Immensely. White Monkey, thank you. Raphael Legonde or Legonde. I like the way I say mine. John McGuire couldn't get higher. Thank you so much. Let me see who else is here. Stephen Lynch, thank you. Insidious, thank you as well. Don't forget our friends at mypillow.com, mypillow.com, promo code Lionel. The deals, they are aplenty. Go and just take advantage of some of the greatest products there are available to help you luxuriate and to enjoy your time alone. And also our great friends at preparewithlionel.com. Go right now and you can save 25% off a 3-month emergency food kit. Order now. This deal will not last forever. Here is the link. It's there. You can get it. The link is here, preparewithlionel.com. Just click it accordingly. And I thank you. Dear friends, have a wonderful, a great, and a glorious night. Get some sleep. Listen to some good music. Get yourself away from this. And by the way, just remember, we're here for you. If you like this, thank you. Please subscribe. Don't forget our private channel, private subscription channel, LionelMedia.com. Go and sign up for that. It's a lot of fun and it's groovy as well. It's completely groovy. All right, dear friends, have a great and a glorious day. See you tomorrow, 8 a.m. without fail. And until then, remember these words: the monkey's dead, the show's over, sue ya. Dead.